Another topic that's been coming up is college tuition being paid for. Biden, first 2 years for everybody. Let's forgive $10,000. No, forgive $50,000. And then Elizabeth Warren says, let's forgive all the $1.5 trillion. How are you affected by that if all of that's being forgiven? Because then it doesn't affect the colleges and universities. That goes straight to Sally Mae and the lenders and the taxpayers, right? What do you think about what's being proposed with, paying for college tuition of kids?
Well, two questions. First of all, is it a good idea? And the second is, what's its effect on us? Well, it can't be a good idea. And the reason is, of all of the things on earth that somebody can give you, education is the last thing that you can get as an entitlement. And the reason is, every minute that you're learning, you're concentrating, and it takes energy and discipline to do it. And the teacher can be brilliant, and you're not paying attention, you learn nothing. So the first step is, to get a higher education, you need to want one and be prepared to sacrifice for it. So this idea that we're just going to send everybody to college, well, what do they do when they get there? Used to be a distinction to go, right? And the success rates in college are miserably low now. So I don't think any of that's a good idea. And I don't think that's where the problem is. Now, affecting us, we don't take any of that money, right? So and the other thing is, we get a small percentage of our money from the students. Last year, it was 7% of the revenues of Hillsdale College came from the students and their parents. And we're trying to make that number 0. Now, we have an unusual reason for wanting to do that. We have an honor code. It's very difficult to get into Hillsdale College. And that's precious because you're going to have to work. Half the time, the course is the same for every student. And that means you don't like physics, never mind, you got to take it. You don't like philosophy, you got to take it, right? So we need kids who commit and they sign an honor code. And if we're not charging them anything at all, then we can ask for more in the way of commitment from them. And that's the valuable thing. That's what makes success.
I like that. That's a very interesting perspective on what you said there. If we're not asking nothing from them, we can expect more from them. And you're only taking 350 kids a year anyway. So it's not like you're opening it up to everybody.
And see, the other thing is we have 2.5 million people taking online courses at Hillsdale College. And those are free. We don't ask any money in them either, right? And there's about 70,000 people now, I think, that have taken all 26 of the courses we've done so far and taken the exams and passed them. They've got a sort of undergraduate education there. And, we have a rule of action. First of all, Hillsdale College itself, the little nuclear reactor in remote Michigan, that has to burn hot and pure. You got to get the best kids, the ones that most want to be there, the faculty who are the most eloquent and able, and you got to make that thing a treasure. And then that thing can radiate all over the country. Mm-hmm. We've started, 24 charter schools now. We got 8 more forming, right? And our kids go teaching them. We're about to start a master's degree program in classical education to train school leaders, so people can teach others, right? And the thing is, this is an activity that has never been, at its peak, it's never been a profit-making activity. Education is for young people who haven't established themselves yet. And they take some time before they start their career and they improve their intellects and their characters. So, of course, it's a charitable enterprise. You should do it efficiently, and you should do it as cheaply as possible, and you should do it excellently. And, when education was private, that was how it was. Used to be 70% of the people, it's about 1960, went to liberal arts colleges. Now it's 16%. And where do they go now? They go to the 2nd and 3rd tier state universities. And that's a change, right? And those places are not teaching the good, the true, and the beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And be better if we trained them, and if students learned the history and principles of their country and what kind of thing they are, and the great story of the past, and philosophy with its many contentions, right? Everybody, used to be a high school education brought most of that stuff. So that's, one of our problems is we've bureaucratized education. It's a centralized top-down thing. And, Republicans are extensively responsible for that. And we need to liberate that, right? Charter schools is the great engine. Because
wait, you said Republicans are responsible for that. Why is that?
No Child Left Behind Act. In the first, the two guys named Bush since Reagan, right? They both, the elder, they're fine people, by the way, and I voted for them and would vote for them again, depending on the alternative. But they thought that they could fix education in America from Washington, D.C. And so they came up with this idea of high stakes testing, which means, and then, one of them said to me, a senior guy in this George W. Bush administration, when they were about to launch the No Child Left Behind Act, which was a disaster and had to be rid of, he said, well, we'd like you to take the lead in this. And I said, sounds like a bad name. And he said, bad name. I said, yeah. I said, you ever been in a classroom? Somebody's always getting left behind. You got to go back and get them. But also, some of them are going to just get farther than others. That's just how it is, right? And then they thought, and they said, well, we're going to have these national tests. And see, schools all over America now take 2 months off in the spring and teach toward the test, right? And that means the tests are driving curriculum. Mm. And who writes the test, right? Except the education elite. It was the most foolish idea I've ever heard. And it dominates education today, K through 12.
It's that's why I wanted you to tell the history on that. It's funny how you said no child left behind, no family left behind. It's a concept of somebody is going to be left behind because there is competition and someone's going to be willing to do more than the other person is.